Welcome back to another preseason diaries. This is session 12, so that means that I've been doing this for 3, 6, 9, 12, so 4 weeks. So it's been 4 weeks of training videos. This one was a nice and easy sort of session. Went for about an hour and a half. They started at 10 o'clock or just after 10. They finished just before 12-ish. And it was, yeah, a pretty light session. Lots of fundamental work as well. Now, you would have heard me use that word fundamental or fundamentals quite a lot of times, but I feel like just from viewing these last 12 sessions that there has been a bit of a shift in how we sort of go about it. If you remember the last couple of years, we've been really like conditioning and running and making sure these guys are fit as hell because that's our game plan. You know, it's the chaos ball, it's the running, it's the outpacing your opponent. It's when it's the last 2 minutes, you just want to run as quickly as you can and get around your opponent and stuff like that. What I've noticed in these last 4 weeks is we've gone quote unquote back to basics. Now, some of this stuff here, like you see here, is just pretty much just trying to dodge, trying to spin out of trouble. So I feel like we're at that point where we have the aerobic capacity to go with it. So we have that part of our game. Now it's just getting everything else correct. And I know that sounds a little bit stupid because, 2023, we win the premiership like this. But hear me out. I think there's always room for improvement, right? And the stuff that you do on the training track here is what goes into the game. Now, all this stuff looks really, I'm going to say super simple because I'm just a football content creator, right? So it's probably not super simple stuff. But what I mean is like this is just sort of a chaos ball. You call for it, someone kicks it to you, you mark it. But it's these fundamentals that give you confidence going into a game where you're backing the ability of your teammate, and you're wanting them to hit you up, and you know that we've done this in training 10,000 times. The 10,001st time, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna hit you. Now, while I've got you here as well, stick around right to the end because I've been working on a football documentary or mini doco about the 2002 grand final. And I've got about a 3 minute preview of that. So you let me know how you're going. That'll drop soon. And, just as a sign of thanks and a little bit of inside goss, I'm going to have Josh Fraser on this doco talking about his experience of the 2002 grand final, his thoughts. He's pretty much nearly a man of the match sort of moment as well. So back to training. Some guys that stood out. There wasn't a lot of standouts today because, like I said, it was pretty sort of simple stuff. Um, I like the way Mason Cox has been going about it. You would have just seen that. I've got a bit of footage of Mason Cox. This is Joel Cochran. He had a fracture in his thumb before the training camp, and he's just putting the work in after preseason. Or sorry, after the new year, he's going to come back and he's going to be training with the main group again. So he's probably the only injury concern that we have. Tim Membry, there's a couple of guys asking for Tim Membry footage. I think Members is going really well. It's just going to be up against him, and it's going to be Mason Cox of who gets that spot, in my opinion. I know I said Membry, but at the moment it probably is Mason Cox a little bit more, but we'll see. So it looks like they're sort of teaching Oscar and a bit of Smith as well the forward craft, which I don't mind adding another string to their bow. I could see Oscar Steen coming through as a forward ruck, kind of like Darcy Cameron is. Harry Di Mattia is the one for me that I want to keep a close eye on this preseason and how he starts his VFL season. He really wants to go onto that wing. Does he have what it takes to sort of take one of those senior guys out? I'm not too sure yet, but I really, really hope he does.
What are you doing now? I'm going to go have a lunch date with a young lady.
See, I didn't have Parker in the side. I reckon Parker will go close to making it.
Yeah, I had September 28, 2002. The MCG was the stage, and the stakes couldn't have been any higher. On one side stood the written off, underestimated, young, and hungry to rewrite the script. For most, the game was a foregone conclusion. Brisbane had the talent, the experience, the belief, the superstars. Collingwood, they were the outsiders, a club clawing its... To truly understand Collingwood's 2002 grand final appearance, you have to go back to 1999, a year that Collingwood fans still struggle to talk about, a season of despair. The Magpies were humiliated week after week, finishing last on the ladder with just 4 wins to their name. The mighty Collingwood Football Club, the biggest and proudest club in the AFL, had hit rock bottom. It wasn't just a bad season, it was the kind of collapse that left scars. The fans were disillusioned, the players were defeated, and the club's reputation was in tatters. For a team that prided itself on its history, its 14 premierships, and its standing in Australian sport, 1999 was nothing short of an existential crisis. But in the depths of despair, a young media personality, Eddie Maguire, stepped up. At just 34 years old, Maguire became club president and brought with him a bold vision. His mission? To drag Collingwood back to the top of the AFL ladder, to restore the Magpie pride that generations of fans had lived and breathed for over a century. Maguire didn't waste time. He overhauled the club's operations, invested in resources, and brought in Mick Malthouse as senior coach. Malthouse, a 2-time premiership coach with the West Coast Eagles, was no stranger to rebuilding teams. Known for his tactical genius and no-nonsense leadership, Malthouse was exactly what the Pies needed. Together, Maguire and Malthouse formed the backbone of a new era for the Magpies. By 2002, Collingwood had transformed. After years in the wilderness, the Magpies weren't just competitive, they were contenders. Led by Nathan Buckley, Paul Curia, and Anthony Rocca, they finished 4th on the ladder, earning their first finals appearance in 8 years. For a young team still learning how to win, the finals were uncharted territory, and their first test, a monumental qualifying final against Port Adelaide.